I'm so excited. This is a live episode of McCool and the Gang. Welcome to this podcast.
Awesome. Hello.
She's here.
I am here.
We've got the wonderful Shell Zenner. Oh, I love your wallpaper.
Thank you. I thought I'd bring you a little tour of my house. I have to say, my small dog is also like attacking a pineapple cat's bed over there, just out of shot.
So Shell Zenner, how are you doing?
I'm good. Well, apart from having spent part of my early afternoon with hands caked in mud thanks to the dog, I'm all good. How about you?
I'm really good, thank you. It's such a pleasure to have you on, and just so good to see you, even if it's on a screen.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? But it is actually right refreshing to actually see you on a screen, even, just to have a conversation. You do feel like you've been living in a bubble, in a weird bubble.
I know. I was in the studio this weekend in London, and honest to God, it was like an actual holiday abroad. It was insane. I was loving life.
A change of scenery is good though, isn't it?
Oh my God, yeah. It really helped me out so much. But yeah, it's so good to see you, and I'll let you introduce yourself, Shell.
Oh, it can be quite lengthy. Do you really want to?
Do it.
Hello, I'm Shell Zenner. I am a radio presenter, producer, new music journalist, new music obsessive, aficionado, host, voiceover. A lot of stuff, podcaster, all sorts. So yeah, I like new music, I like radio. I think that kind of sums it up.
No, that's fantastic. And yeah, thanks so much for coming on. And we're just going to have a big chat about life and music and just what's been going on. So how's it been for you? What have you been up to? I know you've got your radio, you're doing Access and amazing radio.
You know what? I look at what's happening around me and I am exceptionally thankful that, I have been broadcasting throughout the pandemic. Things have changed. I've not been allowed in certain buildings, but I've still been on air. So I have to look back and think, I'm really thankful that I've kept a lot of work. There's a lot of things that I have lost. I've not been able to support people to the extent I want to, not being able to go to gigs, obviously, which is a massive thing because you realise it's not just seeing people live. It's actually those connections you forge, those people that you regularly see at gigs, missing all of that. And, there's a lot of events that haven't happened that I'd normally be working at, festivals and doing Q&As and interviewing people. But, there's been a lot of other work that's come up, like little bits of filming and live streaming, and I guess like most people I've just been kind of reevaluating what setup I've got and what I can do to help. And I've had different opportunities. I've been on Radio 4 in the last week, which has been
amazing. Wow, what was that for?
Mind. I did a documentary a few months ago for BBC Introducing in Lancashire, which was part of a series of BBC Introducing Live masterclasses, and it was all about the gender imbalance in the music industry. It was called Just a Girl, and it was chosen. Obviously, this week it's International Women's Day and Mother's Day, and with everything that's been going on, they've decided that it was one of the picks of the week that you can get hold of and listen to via BBC Sounds. So it was just the most bizarre thing hearing my own voice, even if it was just a sentence on Radio 4. I was like, what? And I look back and I've also was on 5 Live again this year, talking about how things have impacted artists and, what we can do to support. And, I know you will know this more than anybody that, not everybody can afford to buy a record or something right now, but the things that you can do about sharing posts on social media and supporting and commenting and, things like that really can make a difference. So it's been surreal and weird, and it still is weird, but I'm trying to find ways to be creative and supportive and yet still keep motivated. The music really does help, I have to admit. The music coming in helps. And my puppy, who has disappeared for the moment, which makes me think she's up to no good.
Come back. Oh, God, that sounds amazing. Yeah, it's happening, I just think that's fantastic.
Well, yeah, it's stuff is, but it's about making the right. I'm trying to do things that are constructive to not just help myself. Obviously, there is an issue with the gender, imbalance in the music industry, and obviously, there are real issues right now. I mean, I've spent the last few days assessing PRS applications, and it's frankly heartbreaking, seeing how many artists have made so little money in the last 12 months, and that they're having to take they're having to take jobs and different things to. Here's Nico. I knew she would make an appearance, and she's decided to arrive and hump my arm in coordination, which is just
Amazing.
Lovely, isn't it? Say hey, Neeks. Don't bark. Hey. She's really barking. There she is. Look, literally, she's attacking me. She's also bought the noisiest toy she has. There we go.
What is it? It's like French fries in a packet.
Fries before guys. Fries before guys, babe. I'm trying to teach her the right messages in life.
Do it. I mean, yeah. Hell yeah. Oh God, yeah. It's been so weird. It's been a weird time, like trying to keep creative. I guess you must feel the same, but on the other side, because I'm doing what I can. I've got a playlist that I do like twice a month of new music, and basically I just try and keep it like all of my mates and people I know who are releasing new music, and I just want to shout about it, and it's so important to help, isn't it? And just keep trucking and keep talking about it. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been doing that ever since I've done my amazing radio show, which has been on air for like 9 years. I've always had this feature called The Bandstand. And I know not everyone's a band. There are people like solo artists like yourself. But I think it's really important to delve down in a scene and get people to talk about, people that are in their space that they're really liking. Because how on earth otherwise do we get to know people really early on and start to champion them to help them get to that next level to get noticed? So, it is really great that artists are doing so many of these playlists now, because I just go on Spotify and I get lost in their world and understand a bit more about what's influencing you and what's making your journey what it is. It's I think that there's that hunger at the minute for people wanting to know a bit more about their fave artist, what makes them tick, almost like maybe it's a bit nosy, I don't know. The dog is literally on my shoulder, isn't she?
No, it's fine, don't worry. Yeah, I know. I did. My last playlist was all about a sun going down and all the Sonic references, and putting that together was, even though I had it in my head and I knew what they were, and obviously I'd known that since I wrote the song, but just looking back at them, I was like, oh yeah, that was a total Sonic reference for that track. Like Deftones was a Sonic reference. Like what? But I think it's really interesting. You know what I do this with every guest. I probably should have told you this, but I really want to know, because you wear so many hats within the music world. Producer, host, DJ, podcaster, live gig person, everything. How did you get into all of that? And was there one thing that came first and led to other things?
No, I basically started out reviewing gigs for a website. You get a bit of guest list to go and see an artist and write about it. And I was like, I did it for a while. I ended up actually writing a singles review column for a magazine in Manchester called Chimp Magazine. And then I ended up going from there to being the Manchester correspondent for Fly Magazine and various things like that. Yeah, I ended up doing that. And then I was like, well, I'm actually a bit of a laboured writer. I always thought I'm not a very good writer, to be honest. And then I got an opportunity. A few people had said to me, why don't you do radio? You have a great voice for radio. And I was like, nah, whatever. So I ended up getting into community radio. I mean, all the stuff that's been flying about over the last week. I was the person, firstly, big ups to Salford City Radio. He gave me an hour on radio every week where I learnt to drive a desk. I learnt to do interviews with a £43 dictaphone that I bought off eBay. It was not broadcast quality, but I didn't care.
Yeah,
I made it work, and I went from there to Bolton FM. I was the person with all the stuff that's been flying around about women safe at night and stuff. I was on air till midnight, and I'd lock the building up. I'd put the alarm on, and I'd walk through Bolton Market on my own and to my car. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. The things you do because you want the experience and you want to progress and you want to get somewhere. But, those places were so supportive. They allowed me the freedom to kind of, do what I wanted to do. I mean, I started off just basically legally downloading uploading music and putting new releases and putting it on the show. And over the time I was there, I was like, I just got contacted by more and more PRs, and I was emailing a playlist of, you know, what I'd played around to a load of PRs, and I'd get sent more and more music. And then eventually Amazing Radio I had various other little opportunities where Radio Manchester would say, come on and help us review some singles and stuff like that. And then eventually Amazing Radio kept nicking my ideas. Like the artists I was supporting, they were just all of a sudden in session on Amazing Radio. And I was like, oh, great, guys. That's really interesting. Yeah. Eventually they relented and offered me a show. And that was 9 years ago now. 9 years I've been on Amazing Radio this year. So this month. So, you know, it's all kind of gone from there. You know, I got myself a job as a freelancer at the BBC. I then started working, presenting Weekend Breakfast on XS Manchester, thanks to a wonderful controller called Matty White, who is on TV and radio and stuff in the Manchester area. So, you know, I've been really lucky. I've been given some really great opportunities. And, you know, I guess I've worked really hard as well to kind of hone my skills, learning how to, you know, sound edit and produce as well as presenting. So, and yeah, I just got more and more into, I guess, the Anaraki side of stuff. Like I can do digital and website stuff and, you know, and then it's building a network, isn't it? Building contacts and building respect from people. So hence I've ended up starting to, you know, give masterclasses and lecturing and hosting and DJing, co-curating nights, which has been really great. And you know, it's gone on from there really. So it's just little stepping stones, isn't it, really? And building network. I mean, have you found it like that too? I think when you meet more people and you build a network.
Yeah, it's kind of like trajectory, isn't it, I guess? And it's I had a conversation about this with my sister yesterday, on how a lot of people seem to have a plan. They have a life plan that they have to achieve no matter what. But then the other side of it is that so many people, and there's no right way, but so many people as well just see what comes next, and it's quite a more relaxed way. And I'm very much I'm very much that person. Like, I will see what comes my way. I've got skills. I know what I want to do, but it's kind of like a reactive thing, because I think if you focus too much on like one goal, you know, life happens. Like, how do you know that you're gonna achieve that? And what happens when if you don't? What else is there to kind of keep you interested and keep you, you know, surviving? So yeah. It's funny, isn't it? It's funny. I think I've become a little bit more, not less relaxed, but more kind of psychological about it, as in, I don't know whether that's the right word, actually. You know, things happen for a reason. Cerebral.
Yes, cerebral is a very good word. But, you know, like, sometimes things happen for a reason, and maybe it's not the thing that you think should happen, but it might be that it's taking you to a better path. Because I love radio, and I'll always love radio, and I think the thing for me is I love new music, and I can't not devour new music, because I'm like into new everything. So if I see a new packet of biscuits in the supermarket, I want to try it. You know, it's like almost like it's inbuilt as a thing. Because my parents once said to me, why do you think you're going to be able to make a living out of this? I mean, you know, you're going to get old one day. And I'm like, well, yes, so are loads of people on radio. You know, they're older because they take their experience with them. But, you know, as I build into more work and I'm doing different things and, you know, trying to share, like, I love artist development and actually supporting artists and giving them advice, and I'm doing more mentoring this year, which has been really rewarding, like, you know, not just to musicians but to people that are trying to get into the music industry as like professionals, like women who want to get into radio and stuff like that. And I think as more of that I'm doing, the more rewarding I'm finding that kind of work. So I think it's nice because it keeps it all fresh and interesting and exciting when you're doing different things every week as well. Like, yeah,
you know what, that's a good point, because I always think, you know, when sometimes you think about your life and would I be happier if I did this? Would I be happier? And I always think being as we are, you know, creatives working in a creative industry, it's almost like scary how much you have to rely on your own prerogative to survive and make an income. And I always think, would I be happier if I was in a salaried job or like a more steady profession? And then I just think, no, I definitely wouldn't be, because what I love about this kind of lifestyle is, the lifestyle and the variety and the possibilities, and there's many within music that, as you do, there's so many different things that you can do. Like, I'm a session musician, I'm a songwriter, I'm a podcaster now. I didn't think that would ever happen. I've got my own radio show now. It's bizarre. And I also facilitate workshops for young people, like similar to you, like mentoring, and it's just insane. Like the things you can do within one industry is, especially music, is vast. And what an exciting industry to work in, even though it's not very exciting at the moment.
Well, I also think it's important for people to have, that people that are relatable and accessible as well. Obviously I still feel like there's a real issue with a gender imbalance, in the music industry. And I mean, I've been racking my brains for how to help, and I've got a few ideas, time permitting, that will kind of pan out. But you want people to know, that the whole music industry is not based in London, and I think COVID has shown that it doesn't need to be in London. It really doesn't. But also that there are local people that are, accessible and there, for you, or people that you can aspire to be like, that make you realise that career isn't impossible if you want to do something. I mean, you say about a day job, but I've been there. And it is much easier because you're only splitting your brain one way. Like, I'm not saying that what I do is easy, because there's people messaging you like every day about, you might think I'm only working on that on a Saturday, or I'm only working on that on a Thursday. But the reality is you get stuff all the time, and you're just trying to juggle it. And it does feel like your brain's about to implode sometimes. But, I was in a day job, a 9 to 5, where it was pretty much jobs for the boys. If I wanted to change the podcast on my mobile phone, they would be giving me a dirty look, saying I was faffing around with my phone, even though I'd met all my targets and done all my deadlines.
Wow.
And that's
how offensive.
I'd found that experience in the workplace for a long time, and I'd spent so many years with music in my ears. It was like the way I zone out and concentrate better for me is to have music in my ears. It's almost inbuilt now. So I think there's a lot of unconscious bias that happens in the workplace, and still a lot of sexism and stuff like that. But right now, I think you've got to look at where you're at now and what is making you feel like you're accomplishing something and that you're enjoying. Because I think if COVID's taught us anything, is that you want to be doing something that you enjoy.
Yeah, there was a bit, on the other side of that as well, I found I had quite a lot of like realignment of priority, and just thinking about, when music effectively just went kaput and everything got cancelled, I was kind of thinking, oh my God, like my, all my skills and my training and education has been around this thing that's suddenly not viable anymore. And that was like really scary. And I know that, it wasn't just music, it was basically everything else. But I think we can all agree that music especially, and the theatre and the arts, took a massive, massive hit in particular. And that was really really terrifying for me. And I felt really I don't want to say this word, but I felt quite helpless. I was like, I don't really know what else I could do. Like, I could apply for jobs, but I don't have any experience in a job other than music, really.
When you're so far down one career track, and something like this happens, I think it's perfectly normal to panic, because you feel like you can't do anything else, but almost you need that to be able to step back and actually see all the skills, like I know you're exceptionally organised, you're exceptionally focused, and not everybody has that skill set. You know, to do what you do, you need to be very organised, good with money, resourceful, you know, and just have all the bits that you need to slot into place. And believe me, the amount of people that can't do that is pretty impressive.
You know what? This is perfect. So I have your musical picks, and I just want to ask you about a few of them, because I think that you've suggested these because they have good stories behind them, and they've got kind of memories and good conversation starters. So the one that speaks to me the most is Radiohead, and you've picked High and Dry. So what is it about this track that resonates with you?
You know that, like, there's times in your life where music is just the thing that saves your soul. You know, you're in a time and your place, you're struggling to know how to make sense of stuff. And this takes me back to being at university, and it was my first time living away from home. And I was just so down. I don't know why. And I honestly think I played the bends every night before I went to bed for a year. And this song saved me. I would honestly say this song saved me. And that is why I love music so much, because it has that inherent power to just lift your spirits, even if it is the most depressing song. And the thing is, you can always take yourself back to a time and a place with music. You know exactly where you were the first time you heard something, when I fell in love with something. And this song is just, or will always be, incredibly special to me for that reason.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. We did some photos in the studio over the weekend, and we whacked Radiohead on in just basically full back catalogue, all the vibes, and the bends came on, and I forgot about that song. And honestly, when, you know, the first couple of notes, I was like, oh my god, this song is just, I just need it in my life more. Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? The way you forget about things. Yeah.
I know people get involved in politics and people's views change and tastes change, but actually, you know, it takes you back to a time and a place, and, you know, a certain time in your life. You might have been having a really rough time, or you might have been having the best time and found the person that you love, and that song will always stay with you because of that moment, that special moment. But yeah, for me, it doesn't get better than a song that I feel saved my life. So
yeah,
probably a bit extreme, to be honest, but, you know, it was hard. In those days, it was much harder to actually find people that were on your wavelength, especially when you're a bit of a music anorak like I've always been. You know,
there's no shame in that, Shell. I am going to ask about one of your other track picks.
Okay.
The one that is, I really want to know about this. Okay, maybe I've heard this before, but Opus 3?
Have you never heard this track before?
Fine Days. No,
it's called Fine Day.
Fine Day. Is it possible whether you can sing me a bit of it?
Really terribly.
Or is that too much to ask? See, if someone asked me that, I'd be like, yeah, but
I actually don't know all the words, because it's more about the beats and the feeling. It's a really atmospheric song.
Okay.
And it takes me back to kind of like late rave, kind of a bit of trip hop in there as well, and it's such a great vibe. And if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed at the minute, it's the kind of song that you could totally put on, kick back, chill out, enjoy. And I think at the end of it, you definitely feel a little bit better. So
the other one that I'm looking at here is Baby D, Let Me Be Your Fantasy. I do know that one. Let me be your fantasy. That one.
Exactly. And that is why you're the singer and I'm not. It is just such a good song.
So those two are they're kind of from the same era, I'm thinking.
Yeah, they are, actually.
Yeah.
This was kind of like me when I was 16, 17, getting into music with my mate Amy. Shout out Amy. She is amazing. And yeah, we just used to go clubbing. I started going clubbing when I was 15, and I'd go to these... I was clubbing when I was 15, and my dad had picked me up. Like, I'm not joking.
What a cool dad. Hashtag cool dad.
I started going out to an under 18s night, and within like a few months I was going to full-blown clubs, but I didn't really drink, and I never have really drunk that much in my time, but my dad just knew I needed the music and I needed the social life and I needed to be interacting with people. So my dad would generally pick me up at 2 a.m. or something. You know what I mean? My dad is the best, I have to say.
Yeah, he sounds great.
Baby D was just one of the tracks at the time where you on the dance floor without even a shadow of a doubt. And obviously rave was kicking off, but at that point it was kind of like a little bit too young to go to the Hacienda. It's too far away. I grew up in the Midlands, didn't really know that much about it. These are the days again before social media and stuff, before you'd have to be reading NME or something like that to know what was going on elsewhere. Opus 3 as well, I think, was just 1992. It was like studying, just loving life, basically. And again, it's like electronic dance music, a bit of house in there, but it's just kind of a little bit ethereal as well. So, do you want me to try it? It's going to be so awful. I've got lyrics, though.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. It's a fine day, people open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. And then there'd be this brilliant...
Yeah!
Which is like, you know it. Have you heard it?
Yeah.
Did I do a good enough job?
Yeah, that was great. You know what that reminded me of? Like the Nevermind the Buzzcocks intro round. That was good. I was like, yes, I know it.
Awful.
Boom.
And that is why I am behind the radio desk and not the musician.
Oh, Shell, that was beautiful. That was great. We
just love that tune, honestly. Get it in your ears and it will make you feel at least, I would say, 20% more energised and, a bit calmer about what's going on in the world. I think, again, music has the ability to change the way you feel about everything at any moment, doesn't it? And sometimes just whacking a tune on just really makes all the difference.
I agree. It has the ability to heal. It's just groundbreaking, Frankie says relax. Frankie goes to Hollywood. Like, it is totally groundbreaking music. People are unafraid. Music and art, people just are unafraid to do insane nuts things. And I just think that's great. But yeah, music can just change the vibe of things immediately. It's incredible.
The job that people do, like syncing music to TV and film, I think is absolutely incredible.
Would you ever be interested in it?
Totally.
I think you'd be great at that.
Yeah, I think it's actually quite a hard field to get into and quite competitive. Yeah. But the fact that you can change something like a pivotal moment to a really intense moment with a soundtrack is just amazing, isn't it? It just takes something probably very good to next level, which is just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Would you, you know what? I was thinking about music supervision. That's what it's called. So music supervisors are people who choose tracks for TV and film and such. What an interesting job. I think I don't know whether I'd be good at that, because I would just pick music that I liked, but that's not necessarily what it needs.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like working for BBC Introducing in many ways, because you're getting uploads from people that are uploading music of all genres, and you have to put your personal preferences aside and you have to play the best of all genres. So it is harder than you think, because we're all very aware of I'm extra aware of who I am and what I really gravitate to, but it's actually really hard on a daily basis when you're at work, that you've got to remember all that, and you've got to remember it's almost the impartiality that's so important. It's actually quite difficult, but it's really important job, and really important to make sure you are aware of that.
How do you judge it then? Is it how it makes you feel? Is it the quality? What is it?
I think mainly it is the quality. I think over years and years of doing it, you do tend to hone that what is good enough to be played either locally or on a national station, and that's what you've kind of got to do as well, because you're not just playing things out locally, you're forwarding things over to national stations and national shows. So I chose a song as my Shell Scorcher a couple of weeks ago, and I loved it, and I thought it was so chilled and relaxing that I forwarded it over to Sian, who does the chillest show on Radio 1, and it got a play. It's a track by Retract and Iora, who are both really talented from Manchester.
Oh, I know Iora.
Yeah, really good track. And that's the thing, it's sometimes just knowing what sound quality and production quality it needs to be. And I'm not saying that everything needs to be super produced. There is a place for bedroom producers, and hey, Billie Eilish recorded her debut album in a bedroom with her brother, didn't she? So it's about, it's that kind of quality of songwriting, instrumentation and production all kind of combined. You just know when a song is good enough or not. I mean, sometimes there's songs that don't go to air that are definitely good enough to go air, but it is the current frustration of then just not being enough airtime.
Yeah.
I mean, I said the other day I listen to 650 tunes a week for my amazing radio show, and I have about 30 songs that I can fit in.
That's insane. That is insane.
Keeps me busy though.
Yeah, keeps you on top of all the new stuff coming out, hey? You're like the first person to know.
Oh, definitely, and I'll never take that for granted at the end of the day.
Yeah. I just want to take a moment to remember, and I remembered this the other day, when we went to that Everything gig in Leeds. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. That was, can I just say, I love Everything so much. So that was just such a good night.
Do you know what? I just don't think they get their due, everything.
They don't, do they?
And I don't understand why. I spotted the other day that they're going on tour with Foals, and I was like, I am so hyped for them. I know Jeremy's played bass in Foals of late, but I'm like, I really hope this just gives them the springboard, because they are so underrated.
They're so
and
insanely good. Yeah.
They are.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. They're just nuts. They're nuts good. That's how good they are. It's nuts.
What is it, though? Why do you think an artist like Everything hasn't got their due and hasn't got the commercial acclaim that I think they truly deserve?
You know why it could be? Maybe I'm an arsehole for saying this, but I think they're just... What they do is so intelligent that most people who are just plodding along on, listening to stuff on the radio, or maybe then they're in the car and they just hear it and kind of don't really get it. Maybe, I don't know though, because as a musician, you're the worst person to talk about music, really. Because
I don't know.
It's all wrapped up in your own...
I don't know. I still feel in the music industry, and I don't know whether it's just me or if I'm out of line saying this, but there's a cool factor. And if you're not seen as cool enough, then you just don't get the platforms, you don't get the media, you don't get the support, you don't get the opportunities. I don't know whether that's just me or whether it's, I don't know.
See, I think they're so cool.
Me too.
I just think they ooze cool. They're cooler than so many other bands who are massive. They've definitely got an edge. Nothing about them is naff. Nothing.
Maybe it's the age-old story. You look at the likes of, from Manchester, Elbow. You look at the likes of I Am Clute, who literally spent years working away, releasing album after album before getting their due and actually massively blowing up. I really do hope that is what happens for Everything, because I've supported them since they were on the NME Radar tour playing Key's Boyfriend, and it's and each album is just incredible, and like you say, super intelligent.
Who else could write a song that has the lyric, what is it, like a fat child in a pushchair? Who else would get away with that? But it totally makes sense, and it is a beautifully resonant song.
It is.
It's just wild.
But yeah, no, it's really, really kind of far out lyric, but so relatable, and that's talent in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just remember there's an anecdote I've got from that gig, which is, I have to say it. I think you were there. I can't remember, but we were. You know what? You were interviewing Vitamin,
right? Okay.
Do you remember? And I was on the couches backstage, and there was a girl, bless her, she had a bit too much to drink and she wasn't feeling too great. So there was a pizza box involved as a prop for something that she was doing, which I felt really sorry for her. But there was someone there helping her and like, are you okay? And like taking care of her.
I hope there was someone holding her hair out of her face.
There was someone there, yeah. But
always essential.
Always, yeah. But the oh my god, I've forgotten his name. Jonathan, the singer, came out the dressing room, and I was just like, I grabbed him. I was like, oh, that was great. I'm a big fan. Blah blah blah. And then I was like, can I get a picture with you? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so I got the guy who's taking care of the girl. I think they were like mates or possibly brother and sister. I don't know. I went over to him and I was like, can you get a picture? And he just looked at me and he was like, is this a joke? Like, what the heck? Like, she's really drunk. Like, how dare you come and ask to take a picture of this drunk girl with you? And I was like, no, with Jonathan. And I was like, yeah, I would never do that. And he was like, oh yeah, that's fine. I can't believe it. I was just like, are you for real? As if I want to get a picture with this poor girl. Like, no. But that was just something that made me hysterically laugh that night.
I don't remember that. I must have blocked it all out. The good stuff that I miss because I'm working, it's just annoying.
No. At least you know now. You can enjoy it now.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
I have one more thing to ask, and then we will wrap it up. But the main thing, okay, so you've put in your music picks Take On Me by a-ha, which is probably one of the most incredible songs.
And videos,
ever.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean...
the range is insane.
Yeah. What a guy.
What a guy.
When I was growing up, I... was obsessed with music, and there was very little about. My parents didn't have a record player or anything like that. I eventually got a Walkman, which was huge, so I could play tapes. But I just remember back in about 1985, they had this annual music show. I can't remember what it was called, but for some reason we recorded it on tape, like on video, and I watched that obsessively, and there was so many great songs on there from like artists like King, who you probably won't remember, but that video from Take On Me, the Take On Me video was in there, and I was just obsessed with it. And it, again, you think pivotally, how did you get into music? I was 7 years old when I heard that, 6 or 7, and it stayed with me. That whole video, I watched it so many times. I almost wore it out. The artists that were around at that time, you can imagine, like Kate Bush and Madonna, just so many absolute legends that, that song. And I still think, visual, you look at things now and people are like, yeah, I really need to make sure that I do something visually that's good to accompany the music, because that video always stays with me and it still looks as fresh today as the day they made it. And that's absolutely incredible, really, isn't it, when you think of the time it was made and the technology that was available at that time.
Yeah, it's a great concept. Like, you can never beat a good concept.
No.
And it's a great concept, like, going into a sketch and being a sketch, like, great.
But his voice just stays with you, doesn't it? That's what I love about music, when you hear someone's voice that is unmistakable, and they could be like collaborating on anybody else's music, but you hear that voice and it's that artist. There's something exceptionally special about that, isn't there?
Yeah, you can't beat a really high note in a chorus either. You just can't beat
range.
The range on him. Oh my god, yay! Well, you know what? It's time. It's time. Thank you so much, Shell, for coming on to McCool and the gang. And I hope you and Nico have a wonderful evening, and hope to see you in the real world soon.
Yes, thanks for having us, Nat.
Nate Probs, yeah. Bye. Thanks so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and follow to this podcast. I'm Natalie McCool, and you can find me and my music on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and also on my website, nataliemccool.co.uk. Thanks!